reading, writing, and activism are collegiate indoctrination factories. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Watching how things have played out during the first 13 months of the Trump era, I've come to the conclusion that liberals just aren't that interested in advocating policies that improve the lives of Americans. But what they do want, and it's part of the Obama legacy, is a constant state of protest and agitation, a resistance force-fed to them in their high school and college years. And now professors themselves are nurturing the next generation of revolutionaries. At many colleges, students are now expected to skip class to attend social justice rallies. Case in point, on Yale's admissions blog under the title "In Support of Student Protests," the assistant director of admissions writes, "For those students who come to Yale, we expect them to be versed in issues of social justice." According to Walter Olson and your Wall Street Journal, Yale does not count skipping classes for protests like we've seen lately against applicants. No problem whatsoever. Now check this out. The dean of admissions at Tufts University, her name is Karen Richardson, after the Parkland shooting issued this statement to applicants. She said, "I want to assure you that Tufts is a place where civic engagement is not only tolerated, it's encouraged strongly. So when you act on your values in a principled way on issues about which you feel passionately, it will not be held against you in the application process. In fact, we may even take notice." So forget volunteering with the elderly or helping special needs children and put that on your college application. If you really want to get into that college of your choice, go yell at a conservative senator and then post it on YouTube. There are other universities also stoking activism out there. At Valdosta State in Georgia, the Women's and Gender Studies Department encourages students in their division to organize and implement annual social justice events, such as the Intimate Partner Violence Awareness Month, and you get productions of the Vagina Monologues and National Coming Out Day. But politically, perhaps I have to think about this. Well, no one did more to encourage student organizing like Barack Obama. Last year, he talked about training the next generation of community organizers.
Mateo and I and others have been talking about how we can create an effective network of global activists, some who are in politics, some who are in business, some who are in journalism or working for NGOs, and provide them the tools, the training, the networks, the relationships, the funding, so that they can be even more effective.
I thought we were supposed to be training like code writers to work in the 21st century economy, but we're training the activists. And I would say about what the president said there, they've already been pretty effective, right? Policing speech codes on college campuses, ejecting administrators who don't toe their political line, and now pushing for DACA and gun control laws. But there's something insidious afoot here. A few years ago, Nicholas Christakis, who's the head of a Yale college, was forced to resign after his wife, also a professor, dared to send out a mass email objecting to Yale's Halloween costume rules. She suggested merely that Yale students be allowed to wear whatever they want as a costume, kind of pro-choice, even obnoxious or offensive costumes. Well, the protest crowd cornered Christakis on the quad. He tried to have an actual discussion with them.
So we're sitting here telling you that you are being racist. It shouldn't be a question as to whether you owe us an apology.
And empathy is not necessary for you to understand that you're wrong.
Let us tell you if you're being racist.
Okay, no.
Actually, that is actually how it works. You don't get a choice here.
I disagree.
It's not a debate.
Look at me.
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
Look me in my face, first of all. You never tried to know who I am. Do not interrupt me.
Using the word hurt your feelings is not treating you like.
You wait until it is your turn.
Go wait
Just
for
talk louder.
I'm doing my best.
You were disgusting.
This is not a debate. Did you hear that? Well, at least they admit it now. They're not interested in debate. They would rather grandstand and bully and hurl insults than actually make a cogent argument. Now, Is it any wonder why a Knight Foundation survey found that 54% of college students say the climate on campuses stifles their expression for fear of offending others? The indoctrination of these students begins earlier and earlier. I'm talking grammar and middle school. And once reprogrammed, liberal adults deploy these student bots to do their own political bidding. Just look at the way they've used the high school students in Parkland. Certain Stoneman Douglas students successfully did use their social media platforms to spread their anti-gun demands, no doubt about it. But let's pull back the curtain here. Groups like Everytown for Gun Safety, founded by billionaire Michael Bloomberg, gave $2.5 million to support hundreds of marches for gun control, including the big one later this month. The Washington Post is telling us that high school students in the St. Louis area are not only planning a walkout on April 20th, but they're planning a protest at the office of Republican Missouri Attorney General Josh Hawley, who wants to unseat Democrat Senator Claire McCaskill. Again, the goal here is political power. The idea that this is like merely a student-led, totally organic, altruistic crusade to end gun violence, it's deceiving. You're not looking at it carefully enough. The focus here really is power, and it's partisan. March on the nearest conservative? Take down one of their biggest advocacy groups like the NRA? You bet. Don't fall for all the fresh young faces you see reciting the liberal tropes. These student protesters are amplified, supported, and funded by old guard liberals. Yeah, Hollywood elites like George Clooney and Oprah, business elites like Michael Bloomberg, and the media vanguard at places like NBC and, of course, CNN. So without all of that support, of course they wouldn't be receiving this attention. Maybe they'd even be back at school learning something. But when you can get college credit or maybe even a fast pass to the Ivy Leagues by protesting, why study? You know, hanging out with Bill Maher and Ellen is like helping me find my voice, my truth, my social justice mission. Totally. And that's the angle.